Hey guys, DOWSEY here and welcome to week 35 of the Shrine Report for 2019. And in this week we have some pretty decent perks. We have Prove Thyself, we have Diversion, we have Hex Ruin, and we have Play With Your Food. So let's get into the intro and start this Shrine Report. Welcome back to the Shrine Report, the weekly series where I, DOWSEY, go through all the perks on the shrine and give you as much information about each individual perk, tell you whether I recommend you should buy it on the shrine, and kind of build different perk builds around the perk and you know, break the meta just a little bit. And like I mentioned, we have a relatively decent shrine, and I say that just because Hex Ruin is on the shrine. That really buffs its value for all your killers or even maybe not killer mains who just want Hex Ruin. But like always, we're going to go through order, starting with the top and going clockwise. So if you do want to skip ahead in the video, timestamps will be in the description, as well as the comment section, as well as a friendly reminder that I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you ever want to come into stream, ask about perks, ask about killers, ask about anything, then we're an educational stream, try and provide as much information there as possible. So please come check us out. Anyway, Shrine Report. Let's get into it. First perk on the shrine is Prove Thyself. It's a teachable from Dwight Fairfield, unlocked at level 35 and onwards. And what this perk does is that when another survivor hops on the gen review, you gain a 10% repair speed bonus to repairing the generator, as well as the bonus being applied to all the other survivors that are on the generator. You also additionally get at tier 1 50%, tier 2 75%, and tier 3 100% extra blood points in the co-op actions category. So let's break down that second part first because it's really simple. Each category gives you different blood points for different actions, and so you have the objectives category, which is going to give you blood points for doing generators, searching chests, all those kind of things, and you can get extra blood points in those categories by doing co-op actions. And so Prove Thyself at tier 3 is going to give you double your blood points for doing co-op actions. However, it is worth noting that the co-op actions category has a sub cap to it, and it might be something around 2,000 to 4,000 blood points. I don't know for sure exactly what the cap is, but objectives itself can only be, you can only earn up to 8,000 blood points. So this isn't going to be like We're Going to Live Forever or Barbecue and Chili, which is going to double your blood points after the game. This is just going to double your blood points in the co-op actions so that you can fill out your objectives category quicker and hit that 8,000 cap quicker. The more important part of this perk is the speed bonus you get. If you weren't aware, when you're on a generator with another survivor, your your repair speed is slowed. So a generator takes 80 seconds to repair, and to kind of I guess easily do maths around this, it takes you can say that a generator has 1 charge per second, right? And a survivor works at 1 charge per second since it takes 80 seconds to repair a generator. And so if it takes 80 seconds to repair a generator, when another survivor hops on the gen with you, 2 people working on the gen, both of you receive a 0.1 reduction to your charges per second. So instead of working at 1 charge per second, you're working at 0.9 charges per second. Equally, if another survivor hops on the gen 3 gens, each of you are going to be working at 0.8 charges per second. And if a 4th survivor hops on the gen, all of you are going to be working at 0.7 charges per second. So that's why your repair speed bar turns red when another survivor hops on the gen, because instead of working at 1 charge per second, which is regular speed, you're working at a slower rate, which is 0.9 charges per second. So if a generator takes 80 seconds to repair by yourself without hitting any great skill checks, when 2 people are on the generator, it's going to take 44.44 recurring seconds. When 3 people are on the generator, it's going to take 33.33 recurring seconds. And with 4 people on the generator, it's going to take 28.5 seconds. You know, you can round the number. It's a very long, complicated number, but just round it up. 28.57 seconds. What Prove Thyself does is it gives a bonus 10% repair speed bonus for each person that hops on the gen, and the idea of it is that it kind of negates that repair efficiency debuff that you get when multiple people are on the generator. So if it takes 44.44 seconds for 2 survivors to work a gen, when Prove Thyself is active, instead it's going to take 40.4 seconds. So you actually get a full second buff with Prove Thyself. Prove Thyself doesn't make it 1 charge per second with 2 people on the generator, it makes it 0.99 charges per second. So as close to 1 charge per second as possible. When 3 people on the gen, you all work at 0.96 charges per second. So the gen gets repaired in 27 recurring seconds, which is a 5-second buff. And when all 4 of you are on the gen, you work at a 0.91 charge per second. So it's actually heavily subsidized at that point. And that means the gen gets repaired at 21.98 seconds, which is about 7-second buff to the gen speed. So Prove Thyself can get gens done a little bit quicker, 4 seconds extra when there's 2 of you on the gen, 5 seconds extra when there's 3 of you on the gen, and about 6 seconds faster when there's 3 of you on the gen. If you were then to bring like an engineer's toolbox, which buffs your repair speed by 25%, then you could get the gen done, all 4 of you with engineer's toolboxes in around 17.58 seconds. And then if you wanted to stack add-ons such as socket swivels and a clean rag, and maybe bring resilience so you get that speed buff or spine chill, then you could actually get the gen done a little bit quicker than that. I think probably closer to like 12 seconds, but I'm not exactly sure how much faster you can make it. So yeah, Prove Thyself does get gens done quicker. Now, would I recommend you buy this perk on the Shrine? No, I wouldn't. It's a Dwight perk. Dwight is a free character. Just level him up to level 35 and unlock it in your blood webs. Would I recommend you use Prove Thyself? This is a tough one. Probably not, actually. I don't think it's that much of a bonus, if I'm going to be honest. Thanatophobia is a perk that can add up to 12 seconds per gen if all 4 survivors are injured, meaning that you get about 60 seconds extra time in a game. And I guess that's like okay, 60 seconds extra time in the game. But with Prove Thyself, there's 5 generators, and the max that you can get out of it is about 5 times 6, so 30 seconds faster gameplay. I mean, gens can be popped in like 3 minutes already, or 3.5 minutes. So what's the need to pop them 30 seconds quicker? You probably don't need it. The extra blood points can be nice, I guess, if you are struggling to max out your objectives category, but you're not going to get any bonus on that 8,000. If you're already maxing out your objectives category, then Prove Thyself is useless in that category, in that sense. And as it stands anyway, the more efficient way to put gen pressure on the map is for all 4 survivors to work solo gens, so the killer is stretched across the map rather than having 1 point of focus that he can contest to put pressure on the survivors. So Prove Thyself is kind of negated by the fact that the meta is you should be working a solo gen. You can run it. It's not going to hurt you, but you probably can get better uses out of your 4 perk slots than Prove Thyself. That's what I'm going to say about that. Next perk is Diversion. It's a teachable from Adam Francis, unlocked at level 30 and onwards. And the way this perk works, it's quite fun actually, is that whenever you're standing in the killer's terror radius whilst not in a chase, for 45 seconds, so you have to stand in the killer's terror radius for 45 seconds to unlock it, the perk becomes active. And then when you crouch and use your active ability button, which I believe is, I want to say E by default, it's your dead hard button. That's on PC. I'm not sure what it is on console. Then you will throw a pebble, and that will create a loud noise that creates a loud noise notification for the killer. And at tier 1, that will be 10 meters away from where you throw it, 15 meters at tier 2, and 20 meters at tier 3. And once you throw the pebble, the perk deactivates, and it can be started to be stacked up again. I do believe you have to be in the terror radius of the killer to throw the pebble. Where the pebble lands, it will create a loud noise notification, kind of like the fast fault sound or a skill check fail for the killer. It's also going to make some random scratch marks as well, just to kind of sell that there was a survivor there. Is this a good perk? And would I recommend you buy it on the Shrine? This is a meme perk. This is only really used in a fun capacity. It's not a serious perk whatsoever. You're not really going to use this perk on a consistent basis and win games. Sorry, there's some construction working outside. Hopefully you can't hear it. Would I recommend you buy it on the Shrine? I think it's quite a fun perk, and if you are looking for something to spice up your survivor gameplay and have a bit of fun, maybe you're playing with friends and you just want to meme, then yeah, Diversion's really funny. It's a funny perk, but as it stands, it's really weak. You can't stack it up whilst in chase. you have to be out of chase. You have to stand in the terror radius for 45 seconds, which may mean that you're not doing a generator for 45 seconds. And then you're throwing a pebble that distracts the killer, and a good killer is going to know it's a pebble thrown. They're going to know it's a diversion, because there'll be probably nothing there that will actually sell that a survivor was there. Like, you really have to aim it at a window or a locker or something like that for it to be sold. I'm not trying to like talk anyone out of using diversion. It's a really funny perk. I think people should try it if they haven't already, and have a bit of fun in their games. At the end of the day, video games are for fun, right? But you know, from a educational point of view, from a meta point of view, this isn't going to be a perk that you put into your builds to win the game. It's a perk that you use for fun. And from that point of view, if you're like, yeah, this sounds really fun and hilarious, I want to use it, then buy it. By all means, use it. And have fun with it. It's a really funny perk. Here's a really strong perk. Killer's getting lucky 2 weeks in a row. Barbecue Chili, Corrupt Intervention, and now here we have Hex Ruin, which is a unique perk for the Hag, unlocked at level 35 and onwards. And it's a Hex perk, which means that it's attached to a totem in the map, and it affects all survivors' skill checks whilst repairing generators. At tier 1, if they hit a good skill check, they will get a 3% regression. If they hit a good skill check at tier 2, it's going to be a 4% regression. And at tier 3, that's a 5% regression. And if they hit a great skill check, they get 0 bonus progression to a generator. Normally, if you hit a great skill check, you get 2% bonus progress to whatever you're doing, whether it be sabotaging, pig traps, healing, or repairs. So, generators take 80 seconds to repair, and if a survivor is hitting great skill checks, because a lot of survivors at high ranks aim for great skill checks, then it's going to be faster. They're going to get 2% bonus progression every time they get a skill check and they hit it. What Ruin does is it forces the survivors to go for the great skill checks. So if they hit a good skill check, they get that 5% regression to their generator. It also stops them from working on the generator for a portion of time. I think it's about 1.5 seconds. Maybe it's 2 seconds. Could be wrong. And then they have to work that get that 5% regression back. It takes about 7 seconds to recover from a Ruined good skill check. So you could essentially counter it to every good skill check hit by a survivor slows the game down by 7 seconds. Plus, you'll get survivors running around the map looking for the Ruin totem because they don't want to work the gen with Ruin. If you get 2 or 3 survivors doing that, then that's a lot of time wasted. Sure, they might find it quicker, but they're not working generators at that point. And it takes 14 seconds for a Ruin totem to be cleansed. So Ruin comes with a guarantee of 14 seconds. You could probably say 20 seconds of gen speed slowdown. But if it lasts for a long time, it can be devastating. Very strong perk. However, this is a handicap perk. It doesn't improve your gameplay at all, your skill at all. It doesn't improve your ability to play killer. It is a handicap. It's like in golf. You get an extra turn, an extra hit of the ball, an extra par. Like it really is just that. And I would recommend anyone who's looking to improve their killer gameplay, don't rely on Ruin. It's not going to help you. I don't like passive perks. Should you buy Ruin on the Shrine if you don't already own it? Absolutely. Fantastic perk. Even if you're not a killer main, you're going to find this useful. Let's say you get a killer daily. If you have Hex Ruin, it's going to just make it a little bit easier to get your killer daily. If you are a killer main and you're really struggling to apply pressure, then maybe slap on Hex Ruin just so you can learn how to chase better, so you're not having a frustrating gaming experience every time you play. But if you're looking to improve your killer gameplay, then you need to start moving away from Hex Ruin. You need to start using perks like Pop Goes the Weasel, which is going to allow you to control specific generators every time you get a hook and reward you for getting hooks, which means that you're being rewarded for getting chases. And it's going to regress the gen about 25% of its current progression when you kick it. You can use a perk like Corrupt Intervention, which is going to block the 3 furthest gens away from you. Very useful on M1 killers that don't have mobility, so that they can then patrol the 4 gens that are up for 2 minutes and find pressure that way. Using perks like Thrilling Tremors is going to give you information of which survivors are working which gens and block the other ones off for 16 seconds if a survivor's not working on it. So that's 16 seconds potential generator stoppage. There's some really good perks out there that are going to slow gens down, and also perks that are going to improve your chase ability. You could use perks like Haunted Ground, so a burst of power, make your choice so that you can chase the unhooker. Brutal Strength and Enduring Spirit Fury will help you win chases, but again, it's another perk that's a bit of a crutch perk. I'm not trying to shit on Hex Ruin. It is an RNG perk, so it does come with the caveat that if it gets cleansed quickly, you are now only having 3 perks and your Hex Ruin didn't buy enough time for it to be worth switching on. And you really shouldn't be protecting your Hex tokens. I see like a Legion who like basically guards their like Hex Ruin, and it's really silly gameplay because, you know, most games, all 4 survivors aren't going to throw themselves at the Hex Ruin. And so if you're wasting time guarding your Hex Ruin, then you're just not spending good time chasing any blood points, controlling the game. I do have one gameplay very long time ago where I did win a Trapper game in 5 minutes because all 4 survivors at rank 1 threw themselves at the Hex Ruin totem, but that was a very rare game. And it was kind of silly because like I was just basically chasing the survivors, and it just so happened that they were very desperate for my totem. But yeah, really strong perk. It's a perk that is a handicap. And you're really getting no bonus brownie points as a killer if you run this perk. Running Hex Ruin screams I am an intermediate/novice killer. If you want to be the best of the best, you're going to have to stop using Ruin. That's all I'm going to say. But until then, maybe it's a good perk for getting to that point. Our last perk is Play With Your Food. It's a unique perk from the Shape Michael Myers, unlocked at level 35 and onwards. This is an obsession perk, so at the beginning of the trial, you will become obsessed with one survivor, and the claw marks will indicate which survivor that is. It's actually really useful to know which survivor this is. So whenever I use Play With Your Food, as soon as I get into the game, I hit escape. I look at the names. Sorry, I look to see who my obsession is. Actually, I look at the names first. I look at the names. I go, all right, so Dwight is player X. Claudette is player Y, because it says Dwight and then their name. Kate is this one, and Tap is that one. And then the obsession claws spawn on one of them. I go, right, cool, Kate's my obsession. And now I know who I need to interact with to use Play With Your Food. So, every time you chase your obsession and let them escape, you receive a token. So that means you initiate a chase and then lose the chase on purpose as killer. And you can gain up to 3 tokens maximum. Each token is going to increase your movement speed by 3% at tier 1, 4% at tier 2, and 5% at tier 3. So with 3 tokens at tier 3, you're going to have an extra 15% movement speed on your killer. So if you're playing the Trapper, who's a 115% movement speed killer, if you get 3 tokens, now you move at 130% movement speed, so you move very quickly. Each time you commit a offensive action, a token will be spent. So that's your M1s, your attacks. That's your using an offensive power like a chainsaw or hatchets. It's not grabbing a survivor off of a gen, or grabbing a survivor out of a locker, or grabbing a survivor out of traps. Or what's the other ways you can do this? I guess grabbing a survivor off an exit gate or a hook. So grabs don't count. They're not offensive actions. That spends your token. So how do you use Play With Your Food then? Because anyone who's like really thinking about Play With Your Food will kind of do the maths. I'm playing Wraith, for example, and I can lose a chase as Wraith by cloaking. So that's really good. I can get my tokens really quick. Find the obsession, cloak, lose the chase. Uncloak, find the obsession, stay within range, get 3 tokens really quickly. But then if you're doing the math on Wraith, you have to M1 a survivor twice. So yeah, you're moving at 130% movement speed, but every time you chase a survivor and down them, it takes 2 M1s to hit them. That, providing you don't miss. Missed attacks count as an offensive action. And that means you're spending 2 tokens every time you chase a survivor. It's not really worth it, because then I have to go find the obsession and lose 2 chases to them to get my 3 stacks back. So I would recommend that if you want to use Play With Your Food, you use it on a killer that has an insta-down. Michael Myers has an insta-down. Ghostface has an insta-down. Hillbilly has an insta-down. Leatherface has an insta-down. There is one exception to this rule, and that is the Plague. When the Plague uses her corrupt purge, the red vomit that injures you, for whatever reason, and this is probably a game bug that needs to be fixed by the survivors. Survivors, fix your game! I'm talking about behavior. Behavior probably overlooked this, because I doubt this is intentional. But until they fix it, it's fair play. The corrupt purge doesn't count as an offensive action, so you can actually use that and be like 130% movement speed plague and just use your corrupt purge to injure survivors and down them. The other killer, I guess, that you can use that doesn't consume offensive tokens is Michael Myers when he's using Tombstone. So that's the add-on that allows you to grab a survivor in mid-chase and Mori them. And that doesn't count as an offensive action either. So what you can do is get your 3 stacks up, chase the obsession, get them out of the game, and then take out everyone one by one. Really, 130% movement speed killer, you're going to grab them eventually, as long as you don't accidentally swing and lose your stacks. There is one killer that actually benefits from play with your food. The rest of them are kind of memes, and I wouldn't recommend it. And that killer is Leatherface. Here he is. How you doing, Leatherface? Look at this. Play with your food. Pop goes the weasel. Enduring and brutal strength with beast marks and an add-on that decreases your chainsaw charge time. I would use carbonate if I had it. What I do is I chase the obsession, get 3 tokens off them, and then I run at survivors at 130% movement speed, and only use my chainsaw if I can guarantee a down on the survivors. If I can't guarantee the down, I can charge the chainsaw and cancel it by pressing M1. And I break pallets using brutal strength, which breaks the pallets 20% faster. So what this allows me to do is either chew through pallets very quickly, and as soon as the survivor steps into a dead zone, a zone that isn't like, you know, doesn't have a pallet like 20 meters away from where they are or a window, then I can just chainsaw them and consume 1 stack of my play with your food, which I can regain very quickly. Very strong perk build. I would recommend this. If you guys are ever wanting to play Leatherface and you're like, Leatherface is a weak killer, how do you play Leatherface to a high level at rank 1? Play with your food is the answer. In fact, I'm going to upload a gameplay video of me playing Leatherface and showing off this build, either tonight or tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Would I buy play with your food on the shrine though? For 2,000 shards, I think you're better off saving them. I don't think it's worth buying on the shrine. It's a very niche perk. It can only be used on a certain amount of killers efficiently, and really it should only be used on Leatherface or Tombstone Myers. I need to test Plague. You know, I've been told about this. I could also be spreading false information. You know, I actually haven't tested it myself. I'll give that a go and report back. So I guess caveat on that information is that, you know, I've been told by multiple people that that's the case, but I haven't tested it myself. Is it a good perk? Not really. It's very niche. And I think anyone who runs it on a M1 killer or a killer that requires 2 hits to down a survivor is really wasting a perk slot there. So, but very good on Leatherface. Like, really good on Leatherface. It's a perk that kind of actually makes him viable. So that's our shrine there. Prove Thyself, Diversion, Hex Ruin, and play with your food. Buy Hex Ruin on the shrine. Buy Diversion if you enjoy memes, and then definitely don't buy Prove Thyself. It's a white perk, and play with your food. That's up to you if you want to play some Leatherface, and that's really the only reason I would buy this perk on the shrine is if you're like, I love Leatherface, he's my favorite, but I don't want to be a Bubba basement. I don't want to be a basement Bubba. You know, this is an alternative way of playing Leatherface to a pretty decent level. What do you guys think of this shrine? I mean, I said it was a pretty alright shrine, but only really because Hex Ruin was on it, right? Like, it's not actually that great when you consider the other 3 perks. But Hex Ruin, it's a really strong killer perk, and like I said, it's a crutch perk, it's a handicap perk, but it will help you if you struggle with applying pressure as a killer to generators. I'm not a huge fan of passive perks. I don't like running them. I like running perks that I can interact with, that I can use myself, that I can trigger. Anything like that is a perk I really enjoy using as killer. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the different perks and how you would use them if you were running a perk build. And make sure to check out the Leatherface video tomorrow, showcasing play with your food and how it can actually be used in a serious way. I've been DOWSEY. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's Shrine Report, and take care in the... What do they call this place? The Trial? Is that what it's called? It's the Trial, isn't it? That was a really bad outro. Take care. Have fun. Be safe. Drive safe. Bye.